Welcome to the Sixth Jock podcast, where we talk about sports, future aspirations, and everything in between. My name is Kunal.
And my name's William. What is up, everyone? Let's not waste any more time and get into some free agency news. Michael Jordan may be called the GOAT, but is definitely not the GOAT of GMs. He's making Thanksgiving look like Christmas. What is he thinking giving Gordon Hayward a 4-year, $120 million deal? What is your take on this, Kunal?
So first of all, he's like extremely overpaid. I don't think him getting Gordon Hayward was a bad move, but just paying him so much. But it probably had to come with the fact that he is coming from Boston to Charlotte, which you leaving Boston, which is a contender, to come and play in Charlotte, which isn't that big of a market for players to come to anyways. So I could see why he had to pay him that much just to bring him over. But overall, I don't think it's that bad of a move. What about you?
Yeah, I think Michael Jordan just wants to kind of compensate for a small market team, because since Charlotte doesn't have a lot of free agents come in, I think he's kind of desperate. So I think being able to give a previous all-star like player like Gordon Hayward, I think he just kind of wants to make the team a bit better by doing that.
Yeah, I also think that sense because he wasn't that big of a part in Boston as he thought he would. When he first went to Boston, I'm pretty sure he was promised that he'd play a big role in the offense, but ever since his injury, he hasn't. And then you had stars like Jason Tatum, you have like come out from being a rookie after his injury. You have players like Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart playing really well too. So like you don't really need him to go out and score you like 20, 25 points, which I think that kind of bothered him because he wanted to be one of the centerpieces in Boston, but that never really ended up happening. So probably that too played a part in him going to Charlotte. So, but overall, he didn't play that bad. Like last season, ever since his injury, the year he came back, he didn't play that well. He averaged only like 11 points. But ever since he came back this season, 2020, he averaged 17.5 points and he averaged rebounds per game and 4 assists, which isn't that bad. And him being the center player, obviously surrounded by Lamelo and all those other young players, he'll be able to get more shots up. He'll be able to do more with. He'll be in more control of the offense alongside Lamelo.
Yeah. In the beginning, they were originally planning to have like the original duo was supposed to him and Isaiah Thomas, right? So I think that's what kind of brought him to Boston first. And then he
Yeah,
didn't expect Kyrie then to show up. And then ever since Kyrie arriving, I'm pretty sure that his role kind of diminished within the team.
yeah. I mean, not only that, it's just that since they both got injured, the same season they started, so 2017, they both got injured, and you had players, all the rookies that had been playing in Boston, and all the young players finally had a chance to show what they were made of in the playoffs and in the regular season when they both went out, and they both showed that like they're young rising stars, so they didn't really. So yeah,
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't think he would have been let go by Boston that easily if he didn't get injured that first game of the season against the Cavs
yeah.
that one year. Yeah, that tragic injury. So I don't know, I think things happened, and if he didn't get injured, I don't think Tatum and Brown would have emerged as future stars for Boston and kind of pushed him out the door.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the main reason why. If they didn't get injured, you wouldn't see Jason Tatum doing what he's doing right now. Because when you have young players surrounded by stars or superstars, you don't really get to see them flourish, which you can see in Kyle Kuzma in the Lakers. He's playing with LeBron and AD, so you don't really get to see what he's made of because he doesn't really get the ball that often. The offense doesn't run through him. He just plays a part in the offense. He's not one of their key pieces. So
Yeah. And when speaking on that point, I think when Kuzma was on his own, I think that year when LeBron was injured and he sat out for a big portion, I think he did do pretty well. He had pretty
yeah,
high stats, yeah.
I think he
So I
even
think,
scored like 40 or 50 points in one game. I think his career high
yeah,
was 40 or 50. So.
because he was like the go-to player, so I think that's the main reason.
Mhm.
Yeah, but in Utah, if we want to look back to that, I think Gordon Hayward was pretty an off-ball player. That's why they kind of wanted to put him alongside like Kyrie and Isaiah.
Yeah, that makes sense too. But like Like he probably like he got tired. Like he's not even. I don't even think he was the third. He was probably the third or fourth option in Boston, right? Because you have Tatum, you have Brown,
Yeah.
um, and then even like Marcus Smart. So I don't even think he was the third option. Sometimes he was probably not even the third option. Probably the fourth option. So yeah, he just wanted to play a bigger role, and Jordan signing him wasn't that big of a deal. It's just like overpaying him. Like that's not a player you'd pay $120 million for. Like that's not worth it.
Yeah, I
You
think that's
save that kind of
why.
money for like your bigger stars and your bigger superstars, but Charlotte is a smaller market, so it makes sense why he paid him that much.
Yeah, now we all know why Gordon Hayward turned down that contract extension with Boston.
Yeah,
He knew he had something else bigger.
yeah. I mean, it's also like the money too, right? You're not going to be able to play forever. He probably wants to make sure that he makes his money when he can, and then after he can go and get like even later in the future of his career, he could go and ring chase and just become a bench player, come off the bench player role that way. But right now, he's still fairly young. I don't think he's in his prime anymore. He's still pretty up there. He can still play pretty good minutes and probably still maybe Charlotte could be a playoff team, but I doubt it because even though the East is weak, there's still younger teams and better teams that I think are better to look out for and have a better chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, by the fourth year of his contract, he'll be what, 30, 34 years old now? He'll probably be 34
Yeah,
years old.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
so
you don't really want at that point he's gonna be like another role player, not gonna like be way past his prime. So if his prime's not already done, like I think maybe the next year or two will be the last of his good years playing in the league. After that,
yeah,
he'll just be a role player.
yeah. I think his prime was pretty much the year that he got injured in what was the year? 2017, right?
Yeah, I think 2016 he hit his like he was starting to hit his prime, and then
Yeah,
2017, 28 like the injury just robbed him of his prime years. Like he could have had if he didn't get injured, he could have had two more years where he was in his like prime 2017, 2018, and then now in 2019 it's been falling off. You never know because of the injury, you know, it took a lot away from his game and took a lot away from his ability. So maybe now if he didn't get injured, he would have maybe still been in his prime a little bit more longer. But I think ever since that injury just took years off of his career.
yeah. That free agency class was actually pretty big. So when a bunch of people were surprised that Gordon Hayward even decided to leave because the situation in Utah was so good for him, and I guess
Yeah,
it was just
I,
mainly because of Brad Stevens.
yeah. I think he made the playoffs in Utah that year, if I'm not wrong, 2016.
Yes, I believe so.
I'm pretty sure he did. Like 2016, 2017. I'm pretty sure they made the playoffs that year. So, but yeah.
Yeah, they huh? Did they? I think they might have missed it slightly. Okay, never mind. They secured the fifth seed.
Okay, yeah. So he had made the playoffs, but like again, I don't think he was he an All Star in Utah. I don't think he was. Was he? There's no way in the West he was an All Star.
I think he did. I think he did make it the All-Star appearance.
I think he actually. Yeah, never mind.
He made the All-Star in 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that was when he was in Boston. Oh, he okay. Yeah, so he did. Yeah, he had one All Star year in Utah.
Yeah. But I guess it wasn't just a signing though, because Boston got a second round pick and then a trade exception. Actually the
Yeah.
largest in the NBA history.
Oh shoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
was
mean,
20
Boston's good.
28.
Boston just the thing about Boston is you're always gonna rely on Boston on getting a lot of picks. Like, um, Boston always had a crap ton of draft picks, so I'm not surprised.
That's OKC now though. OKC has that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. OKC has way too many draft picks. Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
One eternity later.
On to other news. Let's talk about the future of the Charlotte Hornets. So, Charlotte drafted Lamelo with the number 3 pick. What are your thoughts on what he can bring?
So I think we got a report, or it was reported that saying that I think the day before or the day of draft day, Jordan gave the go ahead that if Lamelo is available, to take him at number 3, or if that's what they wanted to do. But I'm pretty sure that just meant if he's available at number 3, we're gonna take him. So after that was reported a lot, I do think that was a good pick for Charlotte because I think you were the one who told me that the moment they drafted him, like the ticket sales or the expected what was it? The expected
Filled
no, the
seats,
prices
yeah.
of the tickets went up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the prices of the seats went up, and like rightfully so because Lamelo has a big following of people. You know, he's a popular player. He's been around the NBA, not NBA scene. He's been around the basketball scene for such a long time, ever since he was in high school. So he's been in the spotlight, been in the limelight of the media and everything. So I think they might have taken him also for that, for the whole more tickets, more sales, because they did lost their star in Kemba Walker, and they did sign Gordon Hayward. But after Gordon Hayward, you also have to add like more pieces to make it all a little bit more flashy.
His fan base is 5.9 million on Instagram now. So
Yeah,
a lot
so
of
he has a good
people,
following.
yeah.
So he has a good following. You know, people are gonna come watch him. Now on the basketball side of you, I do think that's a good pick because LaMelo is a great scorer. He has great size. He's 6'8". He's a great passer, even though people don't think he is. He's like a naturally gifted passer, just like his brother. And the difference between him and Lonzo is that Lonzo comes in with a pass first mentality. He wants to run the offense, you know, get everyone involved. LaMelo is really about scoring, and he's a score first guy, even though he's a great passer, which I do think is good. With Charlotte taking him at number 3, they're gonna make him their franchise player. He has a good young team around him. That's good, which is good. I think with Jordan's help and the fact that he's gonna have Jordan as a mentor and a boss, he's gonna be able to develop his game a lot more, especially when it comes to the jump shooting side of things. I think for the first year or the first couple games, they're gonna let him do his jump shot, see how it goes, see how well he shoots, see how well he can knock down shots with it from the 3 in the mid range. But eventually, I feel like if it starts becoming a hindrance to his game and that it needs to be improved, Jordan will just have him change it, and they're gonna get someone to change his jump shot just like they did with Lonzo.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Charlotte's future looks pretty bright. They got a good young core now. They have a good veteran in Gordon Hayward, and I think Lamelo is gonna be running the show. Like the ball, like everyone knows that since he got drafted number 3, it's gonna be his team, it's gonna be his show, regardless of who was there last year. Because if you think about it, I think right now he's still better than everyone that was on that Charlotte team last year. Like from the young players' point, I think he's better than all of them, and his ceiling and his potential is way higher than all of them. He could be a future MVP of the league. He's way better than his brother, I think. So yeah, I just think it's a good pick.
Yeah, definitely. I think he will kind of flourish, and especially the point that you just touched on. While his boss, right, Michael Jordan, I think is going to be a very important part to having him kind of flourish as a player and kind of cut out his dad's influence, as his dad has definitely played a strong role and kind of ruined Lonzo's career by talking so much, going to the media and saying so much. So I think a smallish market like Charlotte suits his overall playmaking ability and his overall morale as a player, because he doesn't have too much around him happening, so he can actually just focus on basketball. And his dad had no reason to go to Charlotte and be like, oh, my son is on such a great team, which they aren't yet. So if he was in New York, I think it would have been a completely different story, and or any other franchise for that matter.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think the whole LeVar thing is, since Charlotte is a small team, like you said, and like they're not that good right now, he's not gonna be able to do that much talking. Plus, after seeing what all the talking did for Lonzo, first of all, got him traded out of LA, and it just put in so much unneeded pressure on him. And LaMelo already has to deal with a lot of pressure. Like he has a big following. He's been in the spotlight for so long, and even though he's been playing in other leagues and playing outside of the NBA, now that he's in the NBA, is like all eyes are on him because like his entire life he's been working towards this, and everyone says he's going to be the next big thing. And not only that, but he's playing under Jordan. Like, you have that as your boss. That's already enough pressure because you have him probably coming to you, like, not on a daily basis, but whenever, like, because you know what he's expecting. Like, when you're playing a game in Charlotte, you have Jordan there watching you, right? And that's like a lot of pressure. Like, you have to not only perform in front of all the fans, everyone, but you have to perform in front of Jordan, who he's watching. And that's pretty hard to do because Jordan is the GOAT, arguably. Um, a lot of people see him in like a godly-esque view. Like, a lot of people think so highly of him, like they don't really believe it's real. And a lot of people, like, players in this generation and young players like Lamelo and everyone in that draft class, they don't really know Jordan that well. Like, they haven't seen him. All they can see is highlights. They weren't in the time frame when Jordan was so huge and the whole big craze of Chicago and Jordan. Which, if you just look at the stats, you just look at highlights, you don't really understand how big of a thing Michael Jordan was in the world at that time. So you don't really know how big of a celebrity, how much like influence he actually had. So, and that's actually a good thing because it's less pressure on you, but still, like, you have Michael Jordan right there watching you. You have everyone watching you. But the one thing I will say is that the moment Charlotte starts playing better and they start looking like a good team, LeVar is gonna start talking, saying like, "You see what my boy did? He came onto this team. He raised it up. Now they're a playoff team. Look at what my boy can do. Blah blah blah," which I think will just add more pressure onto him and eventually just lead to negative results.
Yeah, but I guess we'll have to see because in the end, I think Lamelo, out of all the other, like his other brothers, right, has, I guess, the highest expectation since he's the best player, most arguably, in the family, with his size, play making, and all those scoring ability and stuff. I think as long as he has a good surrounding cast and he can actually learn something and really focus on basketball and cut out his dad and his dad's opinions and all his blah blahness and his BS, we can call it. I think he should be a pretty good player for Charlotte for years to come. But I guess it's what's the term? They always say like he's the father that's around too much, but
Yeah.
we'll have to see. So
Yeah. I also think that since LaMelo is in the league now, Lonzo is going to become way better as a player. I think he's my pick for the most improved player. He's been getting better every single year since he's been in the league. Not many people know this, but he actually averaging not that bad of a stat. Like, he's averaging 11 points, 7 assists and 6 rebounds, and that's like pretty good. Like, there's only a couple players in the league that average stat lines like that, where you're averaging more than 10 points, more than like 5 or 6 assists, and more than 5 and 6 rebounds. Um, like, one of those players is LeBron. LeBron has always been averaging a stat line of like 25, 7 and 8, or 25, 6 and 10, or whatever it is. And even a player who doesn't get that much credit anymore because of his fall off was Draymond Green, because back when Draymond was playing at a really high level, he was averaging numbers like 11 or 12 with 7 rebounds, 8 assists, something like that, like pretty much close to triple doubles. And I think there was this one year where there were only 3 players in the league that were averaging stat lines like that, where they were averaging more than like 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and like 10 plus points, and that was only LeBron, Lonzo, and Draymond. Those are like the only 3 players that are averaging stat lines like that. So I think now, seeing that his brother is in the spotlight and all the attention is going to be on him, that takes a lot of pressure off of him. Plus, I think it'll motivate him, saying like, okay, y'all think that he's better, blah, 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 but you're going to forget I've been here before him. I'm just as good, if not better than him. So I think now, more than anything, he's more motivated to prove that he is as good as his father thinks he is, and better, or if not the same as his brother. Because it's one thing just to compare you to somebody like a random player or whatever, but it's different to compare you to your own brother. Like, that's somebody you have to meet all the time. Like, that stings, like anybody who knows anything about like